Shrek. What more do I need to say? The dude is an icon. He's a beast of a creature with tremendous strength and a surprising level of agility. Shrek is a flawed individual, but his wit and charm makes him easy to root for. While the Shrek franchise is skirted heavily into meme territory, I think most would agree that they are actually pretty good films that have aged well with time. Many of us who saw these movies as kids are now old enough to appreciate their adult humor.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
Also, making the creatures the good guys was a great twist on fairy tale stories. They often say that sequels are never as good as the original, but I think many people would point to Shrek 2 as a counter-argument. Such a good movie. However, we're not analyzing the film in this episode. What we're going to be doing is taking a look at Shrek 2, the video game. This came out alongside the film in 2004 and was developed by Luxoflux, or however you say that, for the Gamecube, Xbox, and PS2. There was a PC version, but it was developed by a different studio and thus was entirely different. Something funny I noticed is that on the back of the game case, it says there was a Baskin-Robbins coupon inside. That's really random, right? Have you ever had a game come with a coupon for ice cream? Alright, time for a quick update. As I'm editing this video, I decided to do a bit of digging into this Baskin-Robbins thing, and it turns out there actually was some kind of cross-promotion with them in the movie. You can actually see Baskin Robin Hood in the background as one of the parodied brands in Far Far Away. I also found this TV commercial for the Donkey Gone Bananas Sundae.
Look at those ears! Almost as big as yours! Do you really want to talk about ears? What?
The Donkey Gone Banana Sundae. Rich ice cream with caramel praline topping and banana ears. Inspired by Shrek 2. Now at Baskin-Robbins.
So yeah, maybe not so random after all. I'm going to be playing this on an emulator as it's easier to record and I can upscale the resolution so you can actually see what's going on. But don't worry, I'll be using my old GameCube controller. So any complaints about the controls will be reflective of how they actually were. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't really remember the nitty-gritty from this game the same way I did with Battlefront. I'm gonna play through the whole thing, so this will be a refresher for me and a fresh experience for some of you. This game follows most of the major story beats from the movie, but had to add some extra bits to flesh the game out. As far as gameplay goes, I'd describe it as an action platformer with a bit of beat 'em up. You can slightly rotate the camera, but for the most part it's fixed, which definitely sucks sometimes. The game is split into chapters and for some reason sends you back to the main menu after each one. It also features voice acting, but only a few of the side characters use the original voice actors.
But they're blind.
The main cast sound pretty close to the originals, but the Shrek guy is definitely going a bit too hard with the Scottish accent.
Then I need help collecting eyeballs. It'll be a long journey, and nobody wants to see me hungry.
The controls are pretty good, the characters are mostly responsive, and the button layout is standard. A is jump, B is attack, Y is for special abilities, and X is the action button. You switch characters with the bumpers. It's also 4-player co-op the entire game, which causes some pretty big deviations in the story. You'll see in a bit. So here's the first level, Shrek Swamp. Before each level you get this incredibly corny voiceover that explains where the story is going.
Newlywed fever continued to rise in the swamp, and dear Fiona couldn't be happier. Her parents invited her and Shrek to far, far away so they could meet the handsome man she married.
I know it's probably done on purpose, but geez. Basically, Shrek needs to pack for the trip to Far, Far Away. So you're running around killing snails and collecting their eyeballs. There's also some bonus tasks in each level, like here we can free the 7 dwarves and collect magic beans, but they aren't necessary for beating the level. This sort of serves as a tutorial to get you used to the controls. The magic mirror will show up to provide you with tips.
Can jump higher than others.
If you're playing single player, the rest of your party is controlled by AI, and sometimes they get stuck. Like here, for no reason, Fiona just decided to stop moving. It's annoying, but luckily you can switch to that character and move them. So I collected all the eyeballs and now I'm fighting Robin Hood for some reason. It's the first time you really enter combat against enemies. Shrek can pick stuff up, so I tried to carry one of the dudes over to this trap, but somehow I got stuck in it instead. And while I was doing that, my team had actually killed Robin Hood. Nice. The combat is kinda dull. You can't really interrupt an enemy unless you use a jump attack. I'm pretty sure all jump attacks stun, making them pretty useful. Each character can die or pass out, but they'll wake up once the fight is over. The only way to heal is by picking up the red health potions. So after I defeat Robin Hood's army, I pick up this blue potion that was off to the side, and the mirror tells me that it makes my team invulnerable for a short time. Gee, thanks man, that would have been really helpful about 2 minutes ago. So you go around the swamp and find uses for each character's ability. I already mentioned Shrek can pick up stuff, Fiona can slow down time, Gingy can throw cookies to lure enemies, and Donkey can bust open objects. We eventually circle back to Shrek's house to find chickens everywhere. And there you meet Little Red Riding Hood? Was she even in the movie? You mean her? Anyways, she says she's making soup for her grandma and needs help collecting chickens. So you figure, okay, I guess I gotta push them into a pen or something, but no. You use Shrek to shoot the chickens into the pot. Yeah, if you hold down the attack button while holding something, you get this target indicator, and you'll throw that shit like a basketball. This is so goofy looking, like what is he, Steph Curry? As for the other characters, they can technically punch the chickens into the pot, but it's more amusing to have Shrek do everything.
Hurry! Way down top! Bang! Bang!
So now you go with Little Red to deliver the soup to her grandma, and the mirror comes and announces something called Hero Time. Basically, it's a mini mission that stars one character. Here, it's a rhythm game featuring Fiona as you explode the birds with her singing like in the first movie. You may be wondering what the other players do during this part. Well, nothing. They just sit back and watch. Alright, Chapter 2, Spooky Forest. Gingerbread Man leaves, making way for Little Red to join the party. She can throw apples, and her special ability launches an exploding shit apple. She's actually not bad. Anyways, this level supposedly takes place on the trek to Far, Far Away. The goal is to escort the 3 blind mice to the witch's house without them getting killed. There's a bunch of literal mouse traps to destroy along the way, but it's a pain in the ass because you're constantly rushing to stay ahead of the mice so they don't kill themselves. Midway through, you encounter this fat knight. You're supposed to attack him when his pants fall down, but what's interesting is that enemies can actually damage each other, and this dude pretty much wipes out his whole platoon with friendly fire. You also meet this leprechaun named Crazy Larry. He asks you for money to open a gate. You can say no, but it seems there's no way to open the gate unless you pay him. So what the fuck? He also peers off to the side in some levels and you can pay him for power-ups. Now that is something I'm okay with. At the end of the level, Fiona gets trapped in the enchanted carriage and it becomes another Hero Time minigame. This time it's Donkey riding on top of Dragon. You just gotta steer and avoid the obstacles. It's not that hard, but the emulator started shitting the bed real bad here. All it takes is one hit for it to be over, so no margin of error here. In Chapter 3, we're at Far, Far Away. Unlike the movie, the squad is tasked with helping the king by doing tasks around town. Little Red's still here too. Basically, it's a bunch of mini-games. You get placed in this hub area Far, Far Away, which doesn't serve much purpose aside from letting you choose the order that you play the games in. If you harass the knights or citizens, you can actually build up a wanted level and you'll get attacked by more knights. There's 6 mini-games you can do in total, but you don't have to do them all. I did them all anyways, but I don't think you get anything other than progress towards 100% completion. The first mission I did was throwing chickens. Again. The second one was collecting treasures from a troll as he shits them out. If he spots you, he'll start chasing you, but it's pretty easy to outrun him. This one isn't hard, but it takes forever. The third one is a Shrek Hero Time where you have to throw all these dudes into a paddy wagon. In the fourth one, you have to kill a buttload of rats belonging to the Pied Piper. In the fifth one, you're in a small area collecting eggshell pieces of Humpty Dumpty. I'm judging by the chalk outline that Humpty Dumpty might have died. In the last and final one, you have to protect Cinderella from thugs as she goes shopping. I honestly fucked around a bit too much and got half my team killed, but spamming jump attacks came in clutch. When I finished everything, I noticed I still had to talk to the king to get to the next chapter. He seems kinda annoyed that Shrek survived all of this, and Fairy Godmother tells him to go hire Puss in Boots. Alright, now it's starting to line up with the movie. So in Chapter 4, the story goes that Shrek's friends take him for a walk in the woods to cheer him up. Fiona stayed back in the city, so Gingy randomly returns as the 4th member. Then, it's entirely the Puss in Boots boss fight. But, it's another rhythm game. Every character gets a turn, and if you're playing alone, you have to control every character. The difficulty begins to ramp up after Puss passes a certain damage threshold. It also gets slightly harder as each character passes, so assuming every player is hitting their buttons, by the time it gets to Little Red, it's like, tough shit, you better be ready. However, this level is actually really easy for one reason. You don't get penalized for early inputs. As long as you don't miss the button, it counts. So basically, just mash whatever button is coming up until it hits the circle, and once it disappears, immediately start mashing the next button. I didn't take a single hit.
Maybe that was a little harsh.
I wish I knew that when I was a kid. In Chapter 5, we're heading to Fairy Godmother's potion factory, but only Little Red gets in because she has an appointment, and she leaves us without hesitation. Fucking bitch. The guard says they're also expecting a package from Jack and Jill's farm, so off we go to intercept the package. Obviously, this part of the game has nothing to do with the movie. It's similar to the spooky forest level, and you learn Puss's unique ability, which is that he can walk on tightropes. Midway through, you meet Taxman Larry again, and of course, you have no choice but to pay him. He also appears off to the side, and you can buy upgrades again. I missed him the first time, but I went back to this chapter later and found out that he offers health regen, probably one of the most useful upgrades in the game. Unfortunately, I completely fucked the jump to get back, but it appears the upgrade sticks once you buy it. I'm not sure if you have to beat the chapter or not, but I did anyways, just to be safe. At the end of the level, you fight this troll boss. He burps up cartoon bombs. You know, the ones that look like bowling balls with a wick coming out of it. They explode after a few seconds and have a pretty obvious visual and audio cue. Anyways, once you figure out you're supposed to redirect these back at him, it's pretty smooth sailing. And then we got a Puss in Boots hero time. Just some good old platforming. Chapter 6, we're nearly at the farm. There's a gate with a cow sleeping beside it, and you have to hit the cow until it goes over and kicks the gate open. Kinda unnecessary, especially when it seems like Donkey could have done that himself. Even the sound effect is the same. Anyways, there's a bunch of bees, so you use Gingy's cookie trap to send them to the electric bee killer thing, and there you go. We arrive at the farm only to find that Jack and Jill have left the 3 little pigs in charge while they go on vacation. Clearly a dumbass decision, as the pigs immediately reveal that they have no idea what they're doing, and will exchange the package for our help with some chores. So yes, only 2 levels later and we're already playing more mini-games. These ones are at least more fun than the Far Far Away ones. I think you only have to do 3 of the 4, but I'll still show you all of them. Alright, so here's the first minigame, which is finding a needle in a haystack. Literally. So you just go around whacking at all the piles of hay while a giant horde of rats is attacking you. I'm not sure if it's by design, but the needle just happened to be in the very last stack of hay. Now I'm on my way to the second minigame, and I'm just exploring around the pond, clearing bees with a cookie trap, and next thing I know, they start coming back and knock my ass into the water. Great. At least this game is pretty generous with the checkpoints. This time, I make sure to put the cookie under the electric trap and fry all of these little fuckers. As I approach the second minigame, I can already see a bunch of chickens, so I think, oh great, I guess it's time for Shrek Curry to make an appearance. But turns out, all you do is hit the chickens and make them fly away. Yeah, I forgot that chickens could fly. So here's another gate that a cow has to kick open. I mean, come on, this is so tedious. The chickens also seem to be completely random. Some you can hit once and they'll fly away, but others just refuse to go. Jeez. What? Get back here, you piece of shit. Alright, so here's another cow gate. Gotta bring the cow all the way down. Come on. Oh my god.
I need to name it.
Piece of dog shit. So in this one, you just gotta catch the eggs here by moving back and forth. Pretty simple. Everyone has an individual egg count, so you think, oh, I guess they're gonna tally them up at the end. But no, turns out we were just competing against each other the whole time. I have no idea if this contributes to the overall count of doing enough minigames to progress to the next chapter, but I don't think it does. Here's the actual third chore, which is defending this beanstalk from a bunch of rats. This game's got a real rat problem. At first I didn't think it would be too hard, but the beanstalk suddenly started taking tons of damage. Nobody died, but it ended up being much closer than I thought. The last chore is a Gingerbread Man Hero Time mission. The pig tells you they need water, but to get the water you gotta go up to the top of this hill. Sounds easy, but once you get started you'll realize there's a bunch of giant tomatoes and random pits. They have to go through all this to get water? What the fuck is going on with this farm? So after beating it, I get teleported back to the center of the farm, and one of the pigs is standing there now. The pigs thank you, give you the package, Gingy stays behind, and it's off to Fairy Godmother's potion factory. Chapter 7 seems to be playing out similar to the film, only you're in the front lobby instead of her office. But for this one, you gotta hear the opening narration.
But he didn't just ask her. He showed her why he deserved one. He showed her everything from gadgets to gidgets, a graph, a pie chart, and a pie to go with it. He showed her numbers, statistics, blind jabbets, and widgets. He even showed her a couple of midgets.
First of all, yikes. Second of all, he basically just said that Shrek showed her little people as justification for him deserving a happily ever after. What the fuck? I'm not even sure if that makes sense. Let's just get back to the game. Fairy Godmother says no, and the boys plan the potion heist. Out from the shadows, Little Red appears and she's like, "Hey guys, I got my potion, so now I can show you where the potions are." And everyone's just okay with it, as if this bitch didn't just send us on a detour to Jack and Jill's farm. Little Red Riding Hood, more like big red piece of shit. So I guess we're just gonna barge through the front door. The receptionist isn't in the lobby, and there's a sleeping bear that you can endlessly punch, but he'll never wake up. So you traverse through the hallways, killing these knights and making all kinds of noise. Use these crystal balls to block these laser traps. Pretty straightforward, but could be challenging to younger players. We eventually use this gear to open up a door, and then in the following cutscene we see that the squad was walking past it. So why the fuck did we open it? I don't know, but anyways, little shit volunteers to stay behind and distract Fairy Godmother, and we've got ourselves another hero time. You hop across the conveyor belts, dodging the boxes and Fairy Godmother's magic blasts. You're supposed to throw apples at her whenever you have the chance. It gets a bit dicey at the end because you're not given much time to throw. So you beat her, but she just kinda disappears, and the mirror says she'll be back, but you better go help Shrek. Okay. You get teleported to the potion room, and now it's like an order of operations sort of puzzle. I assume this button raises the platform and see that a gear and donkey padlock are on the next floor. Since Puss gets the potion in the movie, I'm gonna keep the hood at the bottom and send him up too. You gotta manually move each character at this point, which is actually beneficial here. I see the gears gotta go up a floor, and then I see a rope as well, so everything worked out. However, if you got any of these characters wrong, you gotta reshuffle and move them around. Once you get to the top with Puss, you whack the potion case and out pops the potion. Fairy Godmother appears, and I'm not really sure what's going on, but it turns into an Indiana Jones boulder chase. In the movie, Shrek dumps that big vat of pink potion, but it's like Fairy Godmother's chasing you with fire or something here. Your AI will die pretty quickly, but it's not too difficult. Timing the jumps can be a bit of a bitch because you're running towards the screen, so the perspective is a bit confusing. You end up in the potion making room, so compared to the film, the order got a bit mixed up here. Anyways, the hood got stuck on this post and died. Mwahaha. The potion workers throw little potion bombs, which are actually super annoying. However, this dude on the bike is constantly shitting out potions that you can pick up. At the end of the room is the big vat from the film. You break it by punching it, and it opens the door to the next room. In the film, it falls the other way, but whatever, it's all good. Prince Charming appears as a mini boss fight. At first I thought he was supposed to stop attacking at some point, like the Fat Knights, but then I realized you can just use the good old jump attack. He's pretty easy to beat, but he keeps retreating to spawn a bunch of knights. In fact, I actually took more damage from the knights than Charming himself. After beating him, you move to the back area of the potion factory and just kill more of the potion dudes and knights. At the end, Charming drops a giant cauldron and then begins an actual Indiana Jones boulder chase. I'm honestly surprised they decided to do 2 of these sequences in the same chapter. To be honest, I think this one is easier than the first one. There are more obstacles and hazards, but they don't spawn or fall in like the crates in the last one. You and the gang escape, and it's off to the next chapter. Chapter 8 skips ahead to the part where Shrek and Donkey are now transformed and get arrested along with Puss. So anyways, the Hood, Gingy, the Big Bad Wolf, and a fairy, possibly Tinkerbell, are at the prison to rescue the boys. The fairy has a projectile, but she's just slow as shit, so I'm not playing as her, but the Big Bad Wolf is pretty cool. His special attack makes him blow air, which can launch enemies off of platforms. This level has no music, but has some really creepy moans. For a kid's game, that's some pretty scary shit. There's this giant-ass wrecking ball that you gotta move up the hill with Wolf's blowing blast. You gotta line yourself up just right, which is the hardest part because your AI feels the need to walk all over you. A lot of this level is just kinda exploring around. There's a bunch of little bonus tasks you can do in this one, like freeing the prisoners or rescuing the pigs and mice. There's a mini boss fight against the troll here, but if you roll the ball down into this gate, you can take a secret path, buy some upgrades from Asshole Larry, and bypass the troll fight. So I get to this part here and it's a bit of a mini puzzle, but the answer is pretty straightforward. The little pump thing raises the cages, but only the cages with the button pressed will be raised. So you make a small staircase to get up to the lever, or lever if you prefer. However, what I can't figure out is how to lower them because I raised the first one too high. Oh man, I'm up the fucking creek here. Wait, what? What the fuck? I think I just fell through the map. I eventually figured out that if you keep pumping the cage, it will eventually reset. That would have been good to know. Well, I finally pull the lever, out comes the steps and a giant spider, and then we reach the boys. However, the mirror appears, and at this point in the game, you already know what's up. So we get a hero time as the wolf, which is just a small platforming race like the Gingy one at the farm. The wolf's jump height is pretty low. I actually did die once by jumping too early. But anyways, you get the key and set the boys free. Chapter 9, The Mines, depicts the journey from the prison to Far Far Away through a mountain called Mount Grim. This is actually pretty cool, as I always wondered how they got back to Far Far Away. Little Red and the fairy are gone without explanation, but we can now play as human Shrek riding on Horse Donkey. By doing the jump attack, you can actually throw a potion, which is not bad, but these frogs are super tanky for some reason. It's only the first room of the chapter and my party's almost dead. After getting through this door, I realized I can use this special charge ability on enemies, which is pretty effective. In the next room, I discover one of the 7 dwarves, and he needs to be rescued again. I already saved you shitheads in the first level, how did this happen? Anyways, he tells us the frogs have captured Snow White, and that we have to go save her. Since when was that part of the deal? What are these guys even doing down here? We get to what is probably the hardest room in the game so far. There's a spider nest spawning spiders and a bunch of frogs. My team was already chunked from earlier, and while I did see the health potion in the corner, I tried to go on as long as I could. Oh shit, oh shit. Okay. Yikes, that was a bit too close. I get to this next room, use Puss to get up to the lever, use the wolf to blow the fan, cross the bridge, fight the frogs, and then... What? Hold on, rewind. What the fuck just happened? Gingerbread Man died, and that made us reset? Well, through the door that we were about to go through is another one of the dwarves. Shrek asks, are we close to the other side of the mountain? And he goes, no, and it only gets harder. Yeah, well, your mother only gets harder. After progressing further into the mines, we go up a staircase and Fairy Godmother appears and tells this giant stone knight to take care of us. You get a fat checkpoint and figure, okay, this is probably going to be a pretty lengthy boss fight. However, you quickly recognize that he attacks in a pattern. He'll repeat a move 3 times and then give you a window to attack him. Spamming the charge attack does mad damage, and it's an easy clap. There's a lot of enemies in the next section, but they are no match for my spam the charge strat. Your biggest enemy is actually the edges of the platform. Just don't fall off. We rescue another dwarf, and he reminds us to save Snow White. Yeah, look at this, just charging at him right off the platform. So overpowered. You gotta fight 2 more of these stone dudes, which is a bit harder this time since there isn't much room. but the charge is straight up broken. Just look. After owning a bunch of frogs, we save one more dwarf who reveals that it was the fairy godmother who took Snow White. So you head up the stairs and meet the Golden Mecha Turbo Stone Man. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy's gotta be harder than the gray ones, right? Well no, not really. There are 2 spider nests in the corner which are the hard part, but the Stone Man keeps killing the spiders with friendly fire. It all boils down to using Shrek and Donkey's OP charge, and then we win and reach Snow White.
Goshness, oh Sataness, she's alive!
Yeah! Not so fast. Fiona will marry Prince Charming, and you can all take a dirt nap.
Wait, what? Did she just tell us we can take a dirt nap? The fairy godmother just told us to take a dirt nap, as in death. Incredible. So she flies away with Snow White and thus begins another obstacle course with Shrek and Donkey. This is very similar to the Donkey and Dragon one where you automatically move and just have to dodge the hazards. Eventually you'll get close enough to Fairy Godmother's minecart and automatically do damage to it. I fucked up a jump and took some damage, and based on the amount I took, I think you can take up to 2 hits before dying on a 3rd. Although I did have a few health upgrades at this point, so it might depend. There is this awkward part where there's a ramp in the middle and the game sort of pushes you to one side. The camera gets all messed up on the turns too. Makes me think I'm gonna eat shit, but luckily they don't put any obstacles there. We stab the cart one last time and then it's off to far, far away. I guess we don't really know what happens to Snow White or the dwarves, but whatever, it's their problem now. Chapter 10, the second last chapter in the game. If you couldn't already guess by the title of this one, it centers around Mongo, the giant gingerbread man. At the start of the level, you'll be surprised to see the bear that was sleeping in the lobby of the potion factory. Turns out he's like the mayor or something and needs your help putting out fires and rescuing the townspeople. You can either use this water cannon or walk up to the fires with the wolf and blow them out. The people are trapped behind the doors. Break them open and they'll come flooding out. Once you're all done, you talk to the bear and then you gotta fight a bunch of knights. You already know what's up. Select Shrek and Donkey and mash that Y button. We fight our way over to the wooden elevator thing, scale up the rope with Puss and then use a wood pump to get the boys up. Mongo is taking heavy fire from a bunch of knights, shooting what I assume is water or the soap bombs like in the movie. You use your own water cannon to take them out so Mongo can get through. Luckily Mongo doesn't seem to take damage from this, so you can let him get hit as long as you want. There's a couple of knights on the roof, but they're just a couple of chumps compared to Shrek and Donkey. Once you get to the end of the roof, Mongo will round the corner and help you to the ground. Then, Shithead Larry appears and demands $1 billion.
There once was an ogre with a wish, who had all the grace of a fish. His motley crew will pay me my due, or all this will end with a... squish?
You know what? I think he might be dead. The party and Mongo take 2 different sides of the road as there is a giant hole running down the middle. You use Gingerbread Man to throw cookies and Mongo will attack in that direction. So you clear both sides and advance up the street. Pretty straightforward. So anyways, I actually do remember the next part, which is a hero time and you gotta defend Mongo with a water cannon. What just happened? I'm back at the start? What's going on? I obviously didn't get sent back to a checkpoint, so did I die or what? Okay, so it looks like the fires are already put out, so maybe I just got teleported. Oh, Mongo's here too. I guess I just gotta walk back to where I was then. Well, he's stuck, so I gotta restart the whole level. That's just fucking great. So I race through the entire level. Takes me about 5 minutes now that I know what to do, and now I'm back where I died or whatever happened. So basically you just shoot these weather balloons and try to prevent them from doing damage to Mongo. You just gotta outlast the timer. So yeah, the entire section is only about a minute long, which means I made it through the entire level and the game shit itself right at the very end. Eventually you realize there's an optimal pattern to shoot the balloons. Just keep rotating in one direction and there you go. We finally made it. Chapter 11, aptly named Final Fight, is the ultimate boss fight against Fairy Godmother. It begins similar to the movie. Shrek and Fiona forego the kiss before midnight and choose to stay as ogres rather than their human versions. What's interesting is that you actually get to see Fiona as a human, so unless I'm mistaken, they had to make a model of her just for this cutscene. Also, human Shrek still has the sword in his hand, which leads me to believe that the sword is tied to the model, since he also had it in his hand when you manned the water cannon in that hero time we just saw. Anyways, remember how the wolf was seen running with us into the castle? Well, you can only have 4 party members, so he's gone. Fairy Godmother gets mad, and the king gets turned into a toad and promptly delivers one of the best lines in the game. The fight begins and you're kinda shocked as a circle of those fat knights start to close in on you. There's an hourglass above you, so you figure, okay, I guess I'm supposed to use that. Well, I fucked up anyway and still took some damage. But once you get out of the circle, you can start to pick them off one by one. Donkey's blast is instantly killing them at this point. Once you kill them all, a circle of the potion dudes spawn. However, they can only throw straight into the center of the circle, so if you just run at them from the side, they won't hit you at all. Then, 2 trolls immediately spawn, and it's actually harder than I thought it would be. Fortunately, the trolls can actually damage each other with their bombs. Your AI also suck at following you, and they keep running straight into the troll's path. I realized at this point that you can actually pick up the bombs with Shrek, but they explode too fast to be able to throw, so it's not very useful. I tried using one of the TNT barrels, but it barely does any damage. Most of my party died, but luckily so did one of the trolls, so I was able to get a health potion. You can also use puss and climb up the ropes to get the potions on top of the pillars at any point during the fight. Now that the trolls have been exploded, it's time to fight Fairy Godmother. At first she'll start shooting the ground with magic, which you can easily dodge as there are these huge targets on the ground showing where she's going to strike. After, there's a ring attack that you just have to jump over. Again, the biggest problem here are your teammates who are jittering around so much they can't help but take damage. After that, Fairy Godmother becomes vulnerable to attacks, so rush over there and whack her a few times. Phase 2 is some more dodging, and then I thought maybe I should use Donkey's kick on her. It took me forever to realize that this game actually has a stat page. Yeah, in case you wanted some exact numbers on the character's damage or health. Seems a bit excessive for this kind of game. But anyways, I figured Donkey's kick has to be one of the hardest hitting attacks in the game. Holy shit, did you see that? Well, that temporarily ended the Fairy Godmother fight, and Prince Charming shows up and you have to fight 3 trolls now. As chaotic as this is, I actually found it easier than the last one. There's so many bombs flying all over the place that the trolls can't help but take each other out. After a bit of struggling, I get the second troll. He shits out some health, which allows me to get the third pretty easily. Now it's time to fight Charming again. I could probably 3-shot him with Donkey, but because this guy's such a prick, I'm just gonna use Shrek and fling him around like a piece of shit. This is awesome. When you win, Donkey kicks him into a tree and Fairy Godmother says she's gonna send us to the glue factory? What the hell, lady? Anyways, now it's the same thing as before, but she attacks a little faster this time. She also sends these little electric balls, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to outrun them or use Fiona's hourglass ability. Oh god, please don't tell me it's fucked. Did it crash? Hey, what the... Oh, what a fucking cheap shot. Alright, there we go. Fairy Godmother disintegrates and the game is over. The mirror shows up and tells you to go outside to play. Damn, dude. And that's it. The game sends you back to the main menu. No credit scroll or big you win screen. Pretty on brand for the humor of this game, I guess. Before we wrap up, I might as well mention the bonus games. These get unlocked as you advance through the story and are just some more mini-games to play. All you gotta do is get to the exit in time and collect as many coins as you can along the way. You can use the coins back in the main game, so this is a pretty good way to farm up to buy upgrades from Asshole Larry. You may also be wondering what the shark tail thing entails. Like, maybe a short demo or something, but no. It's literally just a trailer for the game. Back when this came out, I think it was pretty common that turning a movie into a game or a game into a movie was a top-notch recipe for shit. But I'd say this one is actually pretty good. The story is definitely a bit scuffed, but you get a full game with 4-player couch co-op, which is pretty rare. The gameplay is fun, the characters and environments are unique, the controls are pretty smooth, and even the humor, although a bit much at times, is entertaining. The hero time and minigames also added some nice variation to the gameplay, even if they were a bit simple. Every game has its quirks, but aside from this being easy, which is to be expected of a game made for kids, I can't really think of anything else overtly wrong with it. So by that metric, I'd say Shrek 2 the video game is a certified W.